Meeting to order. You want to start, or you want to start after the pledge? Okay. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Chris, can you call the roll, please?
Marion Bond. Tom Euclides.
Here.
Bond is present.
Tom Euclides.
Here.
Patrick Kelsey.
Here.
Mike Hamlin.
Here.
Ryan Anderson. Mildred McNeil James.
Here.
Joe Young.
Here. Thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from August 6, 2020. Look for a motion and a second.
I move we approve the minutes of August 6, 2020. I second.
I have a motion from Marion and a second from Mildred. Please call the roll.
Marion Bond.
Aye.
Tom Euclides.
Yes.
Patrick Kelsey.
Yes.
Mike Hammond.
Yes.
Mildred McNeil James.
Yes.
Joe Young.
Yes.
Okay, now we've come to the portion of the meeting where we open the meeting up to the public and invite for public comments or anything not on this evening's agenda. So, Jared, if you're okay, we can open it up. If there's any comments from the public, emails, text messages, or anything of the sort.
Absolutely. So, just reporting from the Village Hall here, we do not have anyone physically in attendance. The doors are open. Chris, would you do me a quick favor and look at the YouTube to see if there is a chat, one in the chat that had asked a question?
I do not have anything.
Okay, thank you very much. We have no public comment at this time.
Okay. With that, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, items for Plan Commission action. So number 6A, 2020-007, consideration of a preliminary plan for an amendment to an annexation agreement to Unit 3 of the Montgomery subdivision. Ryan Holmes, Leonard Chipman. All right,
thank you very much. Before you this evening is, it's a bit of a mouthful, but yes, it is a preliminary plan review for an amendment to an annexation agreement. So this is focused around Unit 3 of the Montgomery subdivision, so the townhome section of the subdivision. This subdivision was started approximately 15 years ago, has a mix of townhomes, single-family, larger single-family lots and smaller single-family lots. The townhome portion of the development is located on the south side, just north of Galena Road. This is the village's most westerly subdivision, borders some unincorporated area, and then Yorkville is to the west. So there are currently 2 townhome buildings that have been built quite a few years ago, about 10 years ago. And then the economic downturn of 2008 occurred, and the builder at the time ceased building operations there. Since that point in time, Ryan Holmes has been purchasing lots and building single-family homes. Now they're interested in proposing an elevation for you to consider tonight for the townhome product. There, as I mentioned, there are currently 2 buildings, each of 4 units. There are 52 units yet to be built, which is about 13 buildings. The proposed elevations the proposed product still conforms with the comprehensive plan because this is indicated to be single-family attached residential in the plan. The zoning also conforms. If this was approved in the future, there would also have to be a final plat approval because the units are a little bit different size than what's out there, just a little narrower. So a couple items that staff did want to talk about. This was a little bit difficult for staff because oftentimes in the planning realm, we do look at kind of limiting the number of parking spaces to try to build a little bit more of a walkable community. In this case, however, staff took a look at this, and since it is one of our subdivisions that is the furthest west in the village, there's not we're working towards pedestrian connectivity, but there are not a lot of transit options in the area. And we do have some other experience in other subdivisions out west that have experienced some parking challenges when there's not a lot of on-street parking. Staff is expressing concern with single-car garages. Now, the proposed development does have a 2-car wide driveway. The aesthetic of that has kind of changed the development a little bit as well, with the second car driveway being right in front of the front door, basically leading straight to the stoop. So those are two of staff's concerns with the product. Past that, the look certainly blends in well with the new homes that are being constructed out there currently. It does not blend exceedingly well with the 2 existing units, and we do feel that there should be additional parking spaces built if this is indeed approved. There are currently a small deficiency of parking spaces per the code of 2 parking spaces that would be off-site spaces, not associated with an individual unit. So with that, staff is expressing their concern with the aesthetic and the continuity with the existing community. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Scott Shelton from Ryan Homes to give his presentation. And Scott, if you'd like, I'd be happy to maneuver to any certain drawing or picture.
Great. Thanks, Jared. Appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me tonight. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. So I think since I've been in front of this group and to the village board probably a little less than 2 years ago, we're happy to report that we've had great success in the Montgomery community on the single family side. We've sold 95 houses since the beginning of January of 2019. So really filling that community out well, I think to the pleasure of the neighborhood, and certainly, we're happy with the performance there as well. We are the contract purchaser for the homes. When we originally contracted to purchase the community and we use an investor developer as part of that transaction, we did a bit of a delay on the townhome acquisition, really to try to continue to give time for the town market to heal, and such to make it palatable to continue to move forward on the townhomes. So I want to just take a minute. I do want to let you know that we did have the opportunity to meet with the residents. I met with them personally earlier this week. I had mailed them a copy of the elevations, what we intended to do, the renderings. Met with, I believe, representatives from all the households out there, except for one, which I believe is being rented. And just to, as a courtesy to let them know what we're doing, we had a good meeting I think they all expressed support coming into the community. There was no reservations regarding the product we were built. I think the biggest comments came around the homeowners association, questions regarding whether the additional units would become part of the homeowners association, whether the homeowners association would change, and really getting I guess, a full budget such that they could get some of the items that were meant to be done as part of the maintenance of their homes and in that particular section of the community, which, as you can imagine, have been neglected given only 8 homes paying into the homeowners association. So I think I attempted to answer their questions. We would become part of the existing homeowners association docs, don't have intention to change those documents or those services, but provide additional paying customers, into a homeowners association to help further manage that section of the community. Currently, that homeowners association is currently being run by the original owner, who is the declarant still. So I wanted to let you be aware of that meeting. So a couple things I want to talk about regarding our proposal here. And would like to comment a bit on the concerns that were raised. So we have proposed a product here that is yes, it is a one-car product, but it is a mastered down product. And so there's some intentionality regarding the product choice here. As you may know, we are also involved in a community called Grand Reserve, which is a nearby community just within a few miles of this location. Actually in Yorkville, but very close as the crow flies to this location, where we have, since been in there a similar period of time, have sold 90 ranch homes, all ranch homes. It's an all maintenance community that we provide, the lawn care and such for an age targeted community. As those prices have continued to escalate and over time, we've continued to see some demand for an empty nester product, but a desire to continue to be affordable. Our average price point in that community is roughly $260,000. And there's been a desire to continue to try to get in there and be affordable. We've noticed in the last 12 months, really, an increase in the number of requests for slab units because they were priced a little more affordably. And for that demographic that may not need as much space as what, is provided in the 2-story. So given the demand that we've seen there and the desire to continue to provide an affordable product, we believe that this is an attractive option for the nearby area to continue to attract an empty nester. And with that, of course, can come a desire to not have a 2-car garage or to be as necessary, because we do see some one-person families in that particular instance, or less cars. So certainly the demographic is a component of the desire here and why we've chosen a master down product. And the second is some level of affordability. I mean, we see these, priced in the low 200s. We have 2 sets of products within Balmoral right now, 2 different product series. One product series averaging about 250 and the other averaging just slightly over 300. So as a townhome product, this fits in nicely to get it separation from the existing 2-story product that's there. I've shown in the, Jared, you can see in I think what's currently pulled up, really 2 options in terms of driveways. I showed a second option based on a conversation with staff that there could be some concern on parking. We are certainly not married to having a dual parking drive in front of each unit. But as you can see in this current rendering that's up with the floor plan, it shows a single drive. And then Jared, if you'd scroll to the other, I believe there's a second picture that would show it with a second drive. So I think, either again, we are open to that. I mean, initially we were not proposing that second drive, but if there was a concern around parking, we wanted to show that that could be a potential option with which to address some of the parking concerns. So I think, we see an opportunity and a need to continue to serve, obviously build out the community. Yes, the units are a little more narrow. We are fitting within the existed platted building footprint. There's no increase in density. We have an engineer right now who's doing an analysis. There may be some minor, relocation of existing services that's needed, given that the water services and such are in. But we are, like I said, fitting it within the current window. If anything, the space now between buildings becomes a little more pronounced and a little more open space between buildings because the units are more narrow than what was originally platted from the original developer. So we would appreciate your consideration, and at this point I'll stop and be able to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions or comments from any of the?
No.
What is the actual lot size per home? Not the 4, but just for one building. Is it 15? I saw where the inside was 1590 or 1560 square feet.
Yeah, it's almost 1,600. Jared, if you wouldn't mind going back to the where they show the floor plan. It is a 20, I believe it'll say on here, I don't want to quote something that's not accurate, but you go up into the upper right-hand corner. 24 by 59 feet is the width and depth of that particular unit.
So is that for each?
Yes, for each unit, that's correct.
Okay, all right.
So the plat for these units is a little bit different than a standard single-family home. A lot of them are platted around the actual physical structure and with a lot more shared open space rather than each individual lot having its own private open space.
I hear the comment, I hear the comment in terms of seniors and downsizing. Some of the material that I read, however, is that townhomes tend to, at least in August of 2019 research that I did, tended to be more toward first-time home buyers, unless it was a designated senior project, for seniors only or in that direction. So one of my concerns would be in terms of if there is a high tendency for first-time home buyers, a one-car garage, even with a 3-bedroom townhome, does not leave a lot of room for visitors in the current design. So that was one thought that I had.
And as Mildred is saying, if it is young families or chances are both will be working, so there would be 2 cars. A one car tends to be for a single person, and even a single person may want on a slab the extra storage of a 2-car garage for lawnmower or snow blower or weed whacker or whatever else they may need to for their personal upkeep of the property. I don't know how much the homeowners association would do, if they would do all the mowing and all the trimming and all the landscaping. So that's a question in my mind.
Well, and what I've experienced here is that in the winter, even though the snow is removed by the homeowners association, some people are now having to work very different work hours. A lot of them have have purchased a little small time snowblower, you know, and the design in the garages, it seems tight in order to have anything like that or whatever. It's just that the one car garage for me is a concern.
Yeah, if I could just react a little bit to that. So the homeowners association does provide the lawn maintenance. So, you know, that the need for that lawn, or to my understanding, is not, you know, required. Snow blower probably would be, you know, maybe optional if somebody would want to do that. I think, you know, regarding, we have 3 communities right now in the greater Chicago area that have been, they're all age targeted, meaning that they serve a ranch buyer. They're not age restricted. And
Okay.
every single one of those communities, you know, including the one just down the street in Grand Reserve, almost without exception, is hitting the exact profile of what we expected. They're ranging from mostly 50 to 50 plus. It's you know, probably 95% of the purchasers, and that's because there are plenty of more cost-effective 2-story options for that first-time home buyer than a ranch. Likewise, there are numerous more affordable, I would say, 2-story townhome, 2 or 3-story townhomes that don't have the master bedroom on the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
Would be available to a first-time home buyer should someone want a townhome. You know, in fact, I just looking at the resale statistics, there were, I think, 42 townhomes in Montgomery. I didn't pull all of Yorkville and some of Aurora, which would really broaden that scope. But, you know, in the last 12 months, that were more traditional townhomes, not your master down townhome. And, you know, that average price point was about $170,000. So there are, you know, used options, and in some cases, some new, but mostly used options for that, you know, more of a first-time home buyer who might be looking for, you know, the 2-car garage. This is probably not the ideal fit for them. You know, it really is meant to, I'm not saying that it exclusively wouldn't attract individuals. But I think by design is meant to try to hit that, provide another affordable alternative for a downsizer.
Do you, in your other developments, have plans for townhomes with 2-car garages?
I mean, as a large public builder, we certainly have plenty of 2-car garage. Yes, we have 2-story, 3-story. We've built, kind of built it all.
And yet you don't feel that the 2-car garage option would fit in this area?
Well, I think it's twofold. I think one, there really hasn't been somebody offering a product like this, you know, that serves the master down buyer. Yes, there are ranches, as I mentioned, those tend to be at a much higher price point. But for somebody who's looking for a maintenance option, a great floor plan, and a master down, there isn't a lot of product in the market across the Chicagoland that serves them. So this is a reasonably new product for us, and so we felt that this is a market opportunity for us to serve that. I think the second thing is, yes, we could put a more traditional two-story, 2-car townhome that is very similar to what is built out there, But our concern is that there's also a fair bit of resale that competes with that. That's affordable, and our ability to execute and perform at a price point that moves through the units would be challenged, because there's quite honestly, there's a fair amount of product was built over the last 10 to 15 years, in the general area that is very similar to that, that you can find and compete with. And I gave you some statistics earlier, kind of what some of those average price points are.
Okay.
I had a quick question. On your diagram for the expanded driveway, was it proposed to be concrete, or will it be kind of the blacktop asphalt like the previous picture of the driveway?
Yeah, the good question. The driveways are meant to be asphalt, which is consistent with what's in the community.
Okay, so the picture is showing the concrete, whereas the previous picture showed the asphalt.
I put that to be illustrative of the, what can be done in terms of that a second parking area.
Okay. And then if you had a second parking area between unit 56 and 57, you show a little overlap on the driveways in that one diagram on page 14. So 56 will be on the left there. Is that just not to scale, or is that something you have to solve for as well if you want that way? So 56 and 57, you have overlap.
Yeah, so what clearly we have plenty of room in the building itself, so that building, the black outlines is the original size for what was originally platted and approved and could be built out there. So ours would be actually a lot closer. So if indeed there is a conflict there, we could easily have plenty of room within the building envelope to slide that building, further towards units 52 and 51 within the building envelope to avoid any conflict.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any more questions or comments from commissioners? Since this is not a public hearing, there's no findings of fact or anything of that nature, so.
The only thing this is Tom, the only thing I'd like to add, my preference would still like to see 2-car garages. I don't care for adding asphalt as a parking area in the front yard of a townhome. Like I said, that's just my thoughts on this.
Thank you.
I agree with him as well. I would prefer a 2-car garage solution. I don't like the idea of the driveway going right into the front door of the building. So that's, I don't know, maybe that's just me or.
No, it's not just you, buddy.
No, it's not just you. The current design, I just am very thoughtful, does not serve the best of Montgomery. And I am concerned that, the economy is so whatever right now, to kind of bank on this particular proposal being more geared toward empty nesters. I don't think right now, from what we're seeing in terms of currently in Montgomery, that proves out to be currently what folks are doing. I hear what you're saying in terms of the cost, in terms of this particular presentation and product compared to single family homes. But I do think right now money is tight enough that this particular model could easily be inhabited by a single family. And as that single family grows, then you're going to have to deal with them moving and turnover, and the appreciation rate of townhomes doesn't move as fast as single dwelling. And that to me is just not where I would think is the best at this point in time for Bunga.
This is Tom again, and I'd like to just elaborate or agree with what Mildred just said.
Yeah, I think if I could respond to that, I think in some ways you're absolutely right that the appreciation in the townhome market has been much slower than single family, which is part of the reason that we're here 2 years after when we started this, and that we're proposing a product that isn't so common in the existing resale market. There is not someone serving a more affordable empty nester. As I mentioned before, we're certainly not married to the extra piece of asphalt that goes to the door. I wanted to provide that as illustration if there was a concern regarding the parking. But if we achieve the demographic that we think we can, this provides a great option for those folks as an alternative to a single family ranch home.
Let me ask a question. Is there anything that would stop a family from buying one of these houses or townhome?
No, we're not.
And that's where I'm going, like to kind of elaborate what Mildred said earlier. If this was geared towards, when you say empty nester, I'm going to interpret that or clarify it as if you're 55 or older, and that was basically what we're going to sell to. Personally, I would be more open to one-car garages, or possibly have a mixture of them. Kind of like, grant they're not townhomes, but like what Lakeside of Seasons Ridge has. They have it's 55 and older, and they have a mix of one car or two car. So anyway, that's my add-on to that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's a good comment. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I think that specifically on a price per square foot and availability of resale, there are plenty of the two-car resale options and other options that would be perhaps more appealing to that first-time home buyer, than this particular either layout and or design. I think, given the choice, that family is going to say, you know what, I have to have a two-car garage. I'm not even going to buy this. And there are definite options in the marketplace for them to do that.
Hey, Jared, had a question for you. Is on-street parking allowed in this subdivision here?
To the best of my knowledge, without a snow event, on-street parking would be allowed.
Okay. So I'm just looking at some of the other parking spaces available, like from across the street from 1 and 2 and between 4 and 5. I'm assuming those are parking areas between 12 and 13 as well?
That is
okay,
correct.
That's correct. Okay, I see nothing further east though. And we've got that cluster, quite a cluster down there, and no additional off-street parking. Can you fit some in there?
I'd have to have an engineer look at it, but yeah, I think there is, especially with us narrowing the plan up, I think there's possibly some opportunities to look at that. You're talking about down by...
But yeah, across from, the 20s and, the 30s, even the 40s there, 40, 39.
There would appear to be some room between Unit 20 and Unit 21. That would be an area, there's possibly, depending on how, keep in mind they're going to have to replat this entire footprint of the 4-unit building. So there might also be some area between 40 and
41. Yep,
Yes.
I see that.
I think Scott's right. I think there is opportunity with a replat to find at least 2 additional off-street parking areas.
I do have another question. Even though I know the master bedroom is on the first floor, what is the desirability of a two-story home for seniors? Because usually they go the other way around, right, to more of a ranch-style home, like you said in your other subdivision. Stairs and like more accessibility, right, for disabilities, right, would be probably the concern as well. Because I know the garage has stairs leading into the home, but in the front, I'm sure the front could be, changed maybe for wheelchair accessibility. But in any case, what is that desirability of seniors? And then if you're limiting to seniors and you are limited to your demographic, why wouldn't you try to get a larger demographic to have more chances of a sale?
I'm not sure I understood the second question, but when we come back to that, but I think there's a couple of things that we've seen. I would say our average age that we've seen in the other communities is roughly in the 60s, low 60s. But we see a range. We see 45, we see 75. And so I think you've obviously got some varying degrees of movability from floor to floor, but the desirability to live a significant portion of your day on the first floor without using the stairs too much is desirable. Second thing is what we see is that you have an opportunity now if the grandkids come over, the kids come over, and they have a place to spend the night, and they're separated from the main area, and so that's another reason that it's designed that way. And I'm sorry if I may not have addressed your second question, so if you wouldn't mind repeating that.
Yeah, I mean that was more just add on, but more for for maybe older seniors, right? So disability. I know this isn't a senior housing restricted area, but are there like disability accommodations allowed on these?
I mean, if someone comes to us and they have a disability, we do our best as a builder to accommodate that. So we'll make cost out for them if they need a ramp or some other accommodation, to manage that. We don't tend to see it a lot, but we would certainly address that case by case. They're not designed ramps to the entry or zero entries from the outset to be that way.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? If not, if there's no other comments or questions, Jared, or you have anything else, or no? Okay.
I have no comments at this time.
Okay. If not, I'll look for a motion, and was looking for a motion, in the affirmative. So looking for approval. If you don't want approval, then you say no on the vote. So.
That approval of denial? I know we've gone through this.
No. Yeah, no. We're not approval of denial. No, because that gets too complicated. And so what we're looking for is approval of the item in front of us right now. So approval of the, let me find it here again. Got too much stuff here now. So we're looking for an approval of the preliminary plan review. So, and then if you approve, it's yay, yes. If you disapprove, then no.
All right.
I'll make the motion, Mike. I move the approval of PC 2020-007 preliminary plan review for an amendment to the annexation agreement of Unit 3 of the Balmaria subdivision.
Thank you. Got a motion, looking for a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mildred. Chris, can you call the roll, please?
Patrick Kelsey,
No.
Mike Hammond,
No.
Mildred McNeil James,
No.
Joe Yan,
No.
Marion Bond,
No.
Tom Yukaitis.
No.
Okay, and this item will go in front of the village board meeting on Monday, September 14th.
Okey doke.
That is correct.
Next item on the agenda, community development update and new business. Planner Shipman.
Yeah, just a short update for you this evening. A couple items that have occurred. One, the village board did approve a couple of different food vendors, stationary food vendors. One was Primo's Tacos, and this happened in July, and I forgot to mention it at the last meeting. Primo's Tacos was located on Montgomery Road, and they have now transitioned to a location on Douglas Road. Also, Georgie's hot dog stand, they have recently been approved for a location in front of the Planet Fitness building that's owned by U-Haul. So, couple stationary food vendor updates. After that, we do have some items that we're looking forward to in the future, and so we should have another meeting or two this fall.
Great, thank you. Grab a hot dog right after the workout. That's awesome. Okay, cool.
Then head over for a taco.
There you go.
Wash it down with.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, you guys.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to have something in there because
Yes.
it's sparse.
Yes.
So the next meeting, October 1st, 2020. And if there's nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you.